Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Friday, June 12th. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I thought we'd talk about the things that most of you guys don't know about the business. And this is the back end. This is the one that most people have no clue, but they look at, well, this person is bringing in so many units per day, they're making a boatload of money. Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. If you didn't already know it, yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Friday, June 12th of 2026. So what am I talking about when I say the hidden dangers? Danger, danger, Will Robinson. No, it's most people see the outside, and that is, all right, so this business is charging anywhere from 65 to 120 an hour. It's highway robbery. And what you don't see is, yeah, maybe it's a decent hourly rate up front, but the back end is what kills a lot of businesses that they forget or they don't take into an account. And I mean everything from a bounce check. I have one this week where my business account manager called and said, Eric, we've tried it twice. It didn't go through. What do you want to do? And I'm like, I'll handle it. Claude's like, no, I'll handle it. I didn't want to have her cry when he gets lays into her, and I really didn't want to see him cry if she lit back into him. So, but that's something that you have to be aware of, and we get them now and again. Not as much now that uh, we're really keen on who our customers are, but in that same line of logic, even with the credit cards and debit cards that people use, and then they do a chargeback, and you've already spent that money and paid bills with it, and now the bank is pulling it out of your account, and you don't have a say. You can do an appeal to prove that that work was done, yada yada, but it's usually somebody else used somebody else's credit cards that weren't, what's the right word, authorized. So we get those a couple times a year. And then the ones that really get us are like if you're doing payroll, and if you started your own business, one of the first things that I would suggest is to put yourself on payroll. And that way you're paying in Social Security, Medicare, and all the other stuff so that when you get up to be my age or older, you have in a retirement. At least something, right? And if you haven't paid into the system, then they get kind of whiny, right? So that's one of the first things that I would recommend to anybody is get yourself on payroll and pay yourself first. I'm not saying put yourself on payroll at $150,000 a year when the business only does 200. That's asinine, right? No, you deserve a fair wage and stuff, but if you're the business owner, you're building a business and you're putting, well, how can I say it? You're building equity in your business. The more is paid off, the more equity the building is worth, the shop tools are worth. You know what I'm saying? So, in saying that, we have payroll taxes. That's, you don't have a choice. It's gone right out of my account. And then we have limited liability insurance of 5 million, which the manufacturers said was, I think, the minimum at that time. And that's another $1,100 a year that they take. Then you have disability, workman's comp, the list goes on. There's always going to be a ton of people on the back end with their hand out. And as a business owner, you know you need to be fully aware of the back end before you look to the front end. And if the back end is becoming more than what the front end is taking in, then you have to do one or two things. You can either get out or raise the front end. And that's what a lot of businesses do is they raise the front end to try to stem the back end. All right. So there's that we have as far as business stuff. Knowing that it could take up to 5 years for your business to be out of the red, that's common, okay? And most people give up long before 5 years. That it's not the people that succeeded because they were lucky. It's they just kept at it and kept their nose to the grindstone, learned from their mistakes, and grew. And they did it in achievable steps that didn't overwhelm the system. When I say overwhelm the system, I mean if things are going good, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to get bigger. If you're paying your bills and you're getting a payroll check and things are doing okay, that's fine. If you want to do things in increments, small changes to see if that could save you money or increase money coming in, that's fine. But to go out and buy another business and try to replicate it, to me, is risky because now you're spreading yourself thin between two businesses. The head of the business keeps the business going unless you have one hell of a chief financial officer that understands maintaining a business. You do. Most mechanics don't know how to run numbers. Most shop owners don't know how to run numbers, but CFOs do. And CFOs are looking long term, right? I'm not saying you need to go out and hire a CFO, but what I could tell you is you're having your payroll done anyways. Why not look at somebody to look at everything coming in, everything going out, and seeing if there's a way to increase revenue in the end? People say, well, I can't afford to spend money on somebody to come in, take a look at my business, and show me how to improve it. You can't afford not to. I do that on occasion. I was lucky before my brother in law passed away because he was a chief financial officer. And the business that he worked at was a big wire company. The boss was non existent. So it kind of left it in his hands. And he thrived on it. It was a lot of stress, but he thrived. And he did really good for that business and got him in the black in a hurry. And redid their bids to the US government and stuff like that and did it the right way. That's what I mean. If you got somebody that knows what they're doing but has no interest in owning a business, that's a perfect mix, right? So, what other things do you have little to no control over? The cost of parts going up. Yeah, I've seen a wicked increase in parts prices from the manufacturer, distributor, and the aftermarket companies. I've even seen the Chinese go up a little bit, but for the most part, they're hanging in there. But the other two groups are raising, and it doesn't make any sense because now you have one of two choices. You can either pass it on to the customer or bill them for the extra on the parts and keep going. And I have to look at each bill, each customer, each machine on an individual basis. And in doing that, I make the decision, yay or nay, on how many hours we have in it. And like I told you guys, if it's something that we haven't seen before, but we're going to see quite a bit, I don't bill the customer for the time that we're learning on it. I bill them for what it should have taken someone that had experience to get that job done. And when we see it again, we're going to have more experience and do better, right? So that gets put into the win column. If it's a one off where, you may never see it again, yes, the customer is going to pay for it. And I'm going to be very forthright with them saying, we haven't got a clue. We are willing to try it, but you're going to pay for the labor in trying to diagnose and fix it. And they set the sign off on it before we start. Easy peasy, right? Not so easy, right? Most people with business, they talk about how much money they're making and having all the toys and this and that. I look at quality of life when I look at a business person. Do they have time for their family? Do they have barbecues? Do they go to a camp on the river for a week to get away? Do they make time for the people around them? Because I think you can take a look and you've got pretty much two choices in business people. Either they're all business and they don't know how to shut it off, or they figured it out and they're balancing everything together. See, that's the other thing. If you have employees, is whoever is head of the company is going to dictate how it goes. If the head of the company, goes around to the customers to the employees and lets them know when they're doing a great job and how much he appreciates it, and he takes their suggestions and this and that, that's a hands-on owner. If the only time you hear from the owner is when you screw up, then there tends to be this tension in the shop at all times. And that's not a good thing to have if there's a lot of tension. And I've seen really good business people be terrible when it comes to managing people. They can't do both. And if you can manage people, in my book, that makes you a leader, not a follower, a leader. If people will get behind you and you show them what the end result is that you're hoping to achieve, and you can get them all behind you pushing the same direction, it will be achievable. But if the only time you talk to your employees is to tell them what they're doing wrong, they're going to be so stressed about something not going right that they're not going to be willing to back you up and do the push. It's like, well, this isn't benefiting me. But in the end, it is, because if that business owner isn't making at least some money, your job is in jeopardy every second of the day. I'm telling you right now. In the comments, what are the other things that we as shop owners, even you guys with auto, that you run into? Non-paying customers that ghost you. That's another one. Ones that will tell you they're going to be here in a couple days and then you don't see them for weeks. That's what I try to get across to my customers that are like that is, look, I got bills that I pay weekly and I need that income coming into the shop to cover those bills. If we're working on your stuff and we get it fixed and you ghost me for 2 weeks, I'm thinking about charging you storage plus an extra fee. And I explained to them why I come to that thought process, right? But I'm going to start wrapping this up. It's not going to be a long video today. It's Friday. You guys are jet setting for the weekend. I got a lot accomplished yesterday. I'm thrilled. Claude spent all day long on that mower deck that keeps throwing the belt, and it did it again after he spent all forenoon working on it. So that's dead in the water, and we're back to where we started on that one. I got out a push mower, a wood splitter, a rider, zero turn, another push mower, a weed eater, and then I went to town to pick up some miscellaneous stuff that we need for the shop. So on that note, you guys have a great day, a great weekend, and we'll catch you here bright and early Monday morning for another episode of the weekday. Again, thanks so much for watching, guys.